Today we will see the second part of the Slurs routine with rhythmic variations using the support of the Backtracks as a tool to relax the muscles and, why not, have some fun doing technique. The routine we are going to do today is a complete routine with all the combinations of complex 4-note slurs. For this routine, I have chosen some backtracks from the link that you can find below, choosing different rhythms ranging from syncopated, like swing, to others more on the strum. In the last chapter, we did 2 preliminary 2 and 3 note routines. So if you haven't done them yet, I recommend that you do the previous routines before moving to this one. Once you have mastered the 3-note slurs, we can move on to the non-repeating 4-note slurs. Applying the previous method, we find this grid with all the possible combinations of 4 notes. You may want to freeze a moment the image to take a screenshot. At first, it seems a bit complicated to remember it, but with a little constancy and applying the logic I explained, you will be able to know it by heart. As you will imagine, with 4 notes, the possible rhythmic variations are many. I have grouped it to binary, ternary, and quaternary groups. And using the first combination, 1, 2, 3, 4, I will show you how to perform the variants. I have made for you a playlist with a selection of drum beats that you can use. Although in YouTube you will find many that are free for personal use. Thank you for watching and arrivederci.
Hey everyone, my name is Ashley Lucero. I'm a guitarist and composer, and this is the final week of my composition series. Week 1, we talked about how to write a lost etude in the style of another composer. Week 2, we talked about some simple ways to develop a motive. And this week, I'm going to be writing some exercises specifically using those techniques from last week, but also some really cool little assignments to, again, place restrictions on myself to allow my creativity to flourish. So as you can see, I came up with a motive beforehand. It sounds like this. And then I wrote a few other versions of it. So I did an inversion. And I did a retrograde inversion. And then finally, I wrote a really simple rhythm just so that I have it on hand as I'm going through my exercises. Okay, here we go with number 1. I'm going to start with a statement of the motive exactly as it's written, just to make things easy on myself. I'm going to let the A ring over into the next measure just because I feel like that will fill in some space as I'm switching the motive between voices. So now my bass is going to come in, stems down. Now I'm gonna just layer them in a way that's not as obvious, so not one after another, but overlapping a bit. And I may start to even break some of my rules, like as I'm following the motive, I would have both of the lines landing on this A natural, and I don't really want there to only be one voice there, so maybe I'll just change the note to something that I prefer. And as you can see, I did start to ascend to higher registers, not quite there yet, but if I wrote even more, it would get higher and higher. Don't be like me and write something that's too hard for yourself to play. All right, let's go on to number 2. Repeated rhythmic motive over a bass line. So I'm going to use the rhythmic motive that I came up with before. And I'm going to, again, keep it simple for myself. And I'm just going to use the rhythmic motive on open strings for now. That way I can put more focus on the bass line, which I'm going to use my melodic motive for. So I could do the same one as the original, right? And then I notice as I'm writing, I'm going to have a B flat and a B natural here. Then I have to decide, is that really what I want? Well, let's listen. Yeah, I like it. And I could continue. Maybe now I'll start to add some notes in the left hand. Not making too much variation, but getting there. So the continuation. Okay, number 3. A motive over an arpeggio pattern of my choice. You can get really creative with this, or you can use some tried and true arpeggio patterns. So I said a motive over an arpeggio pattern, so I know that my motive will be in the upper voice. So I'm going to just write it here, just the note heads. And then I would experiment with arpeggio patterns and, chords that I come up with on the fly. So here's my first pitch, and I'm just going to play around and search. Like the sound of this, so now I can decide an order that I can play with my right hand in this harmony. voice, upper voice. And to keep it simple again, like we like to, I'm going to just repeat the same pattern as I change the upper voice. And I can continue with that in many ways. If I don't want to rewrite everything since it's repeated, I could just draw figures. And to me, looking at my score here, my manuscript on the iPad, I know what I'm talking about. So creating shorthand is another helpful way of really allowing yourself to get your ideas out quickly. Okay, here goes number 4. Develop motive over pedal tone in bass. So a pedal tone is just a repeated pitch that occurs either underneath or over some other material. So this one says to do it in the bass, which means it'll be a lower note that's underneath whatever I choose to do on top. And I'm just gonna choose an open string to make my life easy. So let's go with the 5th string, A. And then from there, I can figure out and improvise different things as I play that pedal tone. So I'll start again with my original motive and maybe do some fragmentation, right? So fragmentation means I'm taking smaller parts of the motive. This one I really like to improvise and just come up with ideas and maybe record it, right? So that I don't have to be stopping and starting and stopping and starting to write my ideas down. But I already like what's going on here, so I'll start writing it down. And I may continue on with this idea however I like. All right, so now, as you can see, I have a bunch of musical material so that I can go and create a whole nother piece using it, or a bunch of really short, focused pieces. And it happened relatively easy. So remember to just write. Don't overthink it, and allow your creativity to flourish within the restrictions. Thank you so much for watching.
Hi, my name is Carlotta Dalia and I'm a classical guitarist from Italy. Today I want to talk with you about a topic that I think it's the most important things, which is the sound. As you maybe know, on the guitar and in general, or in playing all the instruments, is really important and maybe difficult to have a good sound. But I think that on guitar, if your sound is not good, is even worse than other instruments. So I have some suggestions and I want to show you which is my method to reach the sound that I enjoy the most. Each morning before practicing, I take these nail files, these 2, and paper for nails. And with these 4 things, I do my nails. First of all, I use this one that is very, very strong. And with this one, or maybe this file that is from glass, which is not so strong like this one, I do the shape of my nail. If you are trying to reach your sound and you are not satisfied with your sound, I suggest you to start from shape your nail like semicircle, an half moon, just to be clear. And so you start to do this shape, and then when you try to reach your sound, you will find that with the finger like half moon, maybe it's your best way to reach your sound, but maybe you will find that the point where your nail find the string is where you find the shape. And if there is an angle or the shape right with the contact with the string, is not so good, in my opinion. So if you are trying to reach your sound for the first time, I think that you should put some paper like that. You before shape your nail like half moon, and then you start to do that. And you will find that when you try to play the string, you have a sign on your nail, because it's the point where there is the attack of the sound. So from that you can start to find the right shape of your nail. Then, for example, I found the right shape for my hand some years ago. So I do the shape that I enjoy the most, and then when you feel your nail, I think that you should put your attention to the point where the nail pluck the string, but also in the opposite side, because when you pluck the string touch before here and then also there, because in Italian we call it rilascio. When you relax the finger, the string switch a little bit in this direction. So be sure that under your nail there is nothing, that is totally clear under your nail, on the top of your nail, and all the directions. So as I told you before, you do the shape, you do your nail better with some paper, from one more stronger to one more thinner, and then, which is very important, is how you pluck the string and how you use your finger and all your arm to reach your sound. So usually when I play, I do this movement that I find the best way for me. You touch the string, and the point where my finger pluck the string is right here. If you can see, there is a line, because it's between the meat of my finger and the nail, okay? Then you push a bit the string into the guitar, in this direction, inside the guitar, and then inside and this direction, so like that, and then like that. Don't do that, because if your idea is to push and to take the string in this direction out of the guitar, in my opinion the sound is not so good. So remember, you take the string in the right point with the shape that is the most comfortable for your finger. You take the string little bit inside the guitar, and you take it inside your hand, and this for all the finger. I think that this method is the most good to have a sound that is full of harmonics. These were my suggestions. See you soon.
Greetings, fellow guitarists, flamenco lovers. This is Edward Frank Martinez back for one last segment. I'm so flabbergasted as to how we arrived at this point in the series to already be at the end. That being said, I have something special for you guys today, and this is going to be a style and technique that I think you'll be able to take with you for a long time. So what we're going to go over today is the flamenco style of tangos and rumba. Both of these styles are in 4/4 and accents on 2 and 4, and so the palmas, or the clapping, for this style would sound a little bit like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you speed it up, you get rumba, and rumba is just like the faster version of tangos, and it's just going by really fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these two styles are normally just like the most party, most relaxing, most enjoyable styles of flamenco, just because it's just like it's so playful and everybody's like all happy. They usually do this at the end of shows. Everybody loves it. There's just so much groove and swing in it, so much flavor and so much bounce in the rhythm. And so without using any more of your time, let's get right to the pattern. So you're gonna have all 4 of your fingers, ring, middle, index, thumb, on the lower 4 strings. So here's the pattern. Okay, but really, here's the pattern slowed down. First off, we're gonna go thumb, fingers, tap, tap. And I'm kind of doing this in rhythm so that you're building the rhythm from the start and you're not having to add that in later. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So adding on a couple extra sounds. Now we have So what I'm doing now is I'm doing the thumb, fingers, tap, tap. But on the second thumb down, I'm letting my hand fall and do a strum. And then I'm going for a tap with the fingers after that. Now, if you haven't seen one of my Soleá segments, which was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, you should go back and check that. And I explained the golpe a little bit more. And now the third and final step is this little tail end of the pattern. And after you do the golpe with the fingers, there's just an up, down, up, up, with the index finger or the middle finger, whatever suits you best. That with the pattern sounds like this. Up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up. And so there's all the sounds of the pattern. And I recommend doing it just step by step as I showed you, just getting each little sound, add that in, do it so slow, like you can do. Just to get your fingers and your brain and your ears comfortable with hearing this rhythm and transferring it to your fingers. So a couple things to look out for are the golpes and the strums. Everything is not exactly forced or pushed. They more just sit and they more just fall into the beat. And so now once you've got your hand a little bit freed up and used to these patterns, you can add some chords. The chords I'm going to show you are from this song called Inspiration by the Gypsy Kings. And that's actually how I learned this pattern. I was just listening to that song. I was trying to learn it my sophomore year of high school. And I was just listening to and I came up with this pattern. I'm not sure if this is the exact pattern, but it sounds like it and it works. So here are the chords. The first 2 are 2-finger chords. The second 2 are 3 fingers. So here we go. Now you just put middle finger down on 3rd fret. So it's pretty much only the basses that are changing. because of that, it's important for this pattern that you use the lowest 4 strings, because those are the strings that change the most. And so here's what the pattern would sound like with the chords. And so if I had enough time, I would go way further into the analysis of this rhythmic pattern. And I'd go to say, well, we have a bass player, we have a drummer, and we have an accompaniment part, all in one pattern, all in one guitar. And so here's the bass. And then here's the drummer. And then here's the accompaniment. And so it's just really interesting to me how this simple rhythmic pattern can have so much to it. And within each of those 3 kind of regions of the pattern, you can add so much more nuance and emphasis, and that's kind of what music is about. Once you have each element, you just dive into each element a little bit more, and sometimes you give one element more emphasis than the other, and then it's just one big party at that point. And so with that, I hope you have a great time with this Tangos exercise and have a wonderful summer, and I'll see you next time in the future.
Thank you.